Good morning, guys. I'm John Newton from John's Pipe Journey, and I just thought I would spend a few moments with you guys this morning before I have to go do some chores. I am smoking my Mark Tinsky and Pipe Cottage collaboration pipe. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not sure if you'd call that an apple or not. It's almost like a volcano looking pipe. But in it is early morning pipe from Peterson's. And I've got some iced coffee. I was able to go up and make some coffee for myself. So I got all the fun parts of camping and zero hassles. I have to keep telling myself that so I'm not disappointed that I'm still practically behind my house. I'm probably like 100 yards away. And in any other setting, this is more remote than, this is basically what it's like in the middle of the Ozark hills along the Ozark Trail. I've hiked some of that, and it's the same as this. So I have all the, at least I have all the visuals of being out in the middle of nowhere completely. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Greg. One thing I like about this pipe is it has all the elegance of the traditional pipes with the jet black vulcanite stem, but this one is made out of acrylic, which is to my liking, so got the best of both worlds. I mean, in my opinion. I'll just remind people I don't clinch my pipes ever, so the clinch factor of this being a lot harder on your teeth than vulcanite doesn't matter to me. Oh, I got stuff falling down on my head. I will cut this off and show you the rig I've got set up here. Okay, I'm tied between two tall short-leafed pines, and on your left, that's the foot end. The head end is over here, and I have the foot end higher than the head end by approximately 6 to 8 inches. That allows you to settle into a sweet spot that is this way towards center, so your legs are elevated slightly, so it helps better circulation. Right here is a 3/4 length 40-degree underquilt that's filled with down, and above I've got up here, I've got my tarp up there in a snake skin, and tomorrow it's supposed to start raining some on and off, So I'll have to deploy that later on. It's been clear every night so far, so I haven't had to even have it out. I'll get a little closer here. These right here are cotton, and what they're called is a drip line. If it rains so hard that the rain comes down here and jumps across this gap, which it shouldn't normally unless it's pouring, if it does, it'll hit here, and as soon as it hits this knot, this will fill up and the water will drain down here and fall off, and it'll keep my my hammock from getting any water whatsoever on it. What you have to do though is you have to have the tarp has to be over this spot for it to work. I think that's everything. Yep, and here's my view, because I get in and out from this side. It's hard to tell, but the ground slopes off. All that slopes off and then eventually drops off like a cliff, and it goes down 300 feet. And so all this back up here is across a big valley that's got a spring creek running through the center of it. And there is my pile of wood that I can use to burn. And over on this side, let's see if I can, that's better, now you can see better. Right there is where it slopes off, and right down in here is a reentrant. There is where it slopes back up to a spur. That's a spur along there. Sorry. There's a spur along the top of that you can see. It's above the little yellowish bush in the very center of the screen. That's a spur. And right this way of it is a reentrant or draw. If you take that down this way, it will dump out into another spur, and then you can, or another reentrant, and then you can turn and go again, and then you'll dump out. Eventually you'll get to the little spring creek, and then you can follow that right to Jack's Fork River. So there are no trails here at all. You just have to follow the terrain that would make it the easiest. Like straight back here is practically a cliff, so I never go down that way. There, now I'm back. I hope that was entertaining. Thank you, Greg. The giver of the flame for the YTPC. Yesterday, just on the other side now, behind the camera and up to the right a little bit, there was a couple of little pawpaw trees, and one of them had a ripe pawpaw on it, so I had a delicious pawpaw yesterday. If you don't know what they are, look it up online. It's P-A-W, P-A-W, 2 words. It's the only indigenous tropical fruit in North America, and it's probably my favorite fruit of all times, and it's the hardest to get because it is so delicious that literally everything eats it. So you're fighting against all the wildlife. I can't think of almost anything that doesn't eat it. As soon as it falls on the grounds, bugs start eating it. This is really good, especially with coffee. It's funny, I could never stand black coffee ever. To me, it tasted like poison water. And when I started drinking it with smoking my pipe, especially with this or Burley Morning Pipe, it's really good. And the way I make it, there's no bitterness or harshness or sour or any of that taste I can't stand from coffee. And while I'm smoking my pipe, it almost tastes like water, practically. Like it doesn't, they blend together so well that it's incredible. I used to have to dump so much creamer in it that it turned white. And now I can drink it lukewarm, black, or or cold or hot. Or yeah, cold or hot. I hope everybody's enjoying the weather. This is my favorite time of year because it gets cool in the evening, and then basically warms up to like summertime in the like afternoon. The sun is pretty intense here because we're fairly far south. When I lived in upstate New York, the sun, fluorescent light. Whereas here in the winter, if the sun's out, you can feel the warmth on your body. It like really warms you up. And it's just a light up in upstate New York because there's no intensity really of heat from it. You can't really feel the infrared radiation from it. Now there's a lot of big white clouds today. So, but it's supposed to be mostly sunny, so I can deploy this tarp. Once I've got my stake set in the ground, the way I have it set up, I can deploy it in less than a minute. So it's not critical in case like it starts to drip on me. I also have some Burley Morning Pipe with me. I might have a half a bowl of that as well. I only loaded this for a half a bowl because I have more fun just loading a half a bowl and trying 2 or 3 different tobaccos than loading up full bowls of one kind. Thanks, Greg. I know that must be really bizarre sounding to most people, but I get bored with stuff pretty easy, so I like to try different things and just kind of naturally want to see which one I kind of like better than the other. That's one thing fun and also confusing about this hobby, or frustrating. It's fun because you can try, well, one, there's so many beautiful pipes that you could acquire, over time, hopefully not too fast, because they're really expensive, but you can acquire really nice pipes or any of the other, lighters, tampers, all that stuff. But I bet that there's thousands of different blends that you can try. And that's got a huge appeal to me, but it's also majorly frustrating because in my I'm old now, but like I won't be tasting probably a fifth of what's available until I pass on. And I feel like I'm trying new tobacco all the time. and then you don't know which, it's frustrating to know which one to even try. You just kind of listen to what other people say they like. That's kind of how I've been doing it. If somebody says they like something, then if it sounds like something I might enjoy, I try it. But that there's always the risk factor if you spent money on a tin of tobacco and you don't like it, and you're like real disappointed that you even spent the money on it. Probably be kind of nice if there was like a little try me sizes of things like that. And I don't have a brick and mortar store near me at all. If I did, that would make it a lot easier to try different things, because you could go in there and they'd probably let you try a bowl of something to see if you liked it, especially if it's a house blend. Like, for instance, LJ Peretti. I'm dying to try some of theirs. They've got a lot of famous blends that people love. And never gotten around to it. Because that one's kind of one you got to call the store. Maybe you can go online. I don't know. I know Paul's Pipe Shop in Flint, Michigan, you've got to call them, because in Michigan you're not allowed to buy tobacco through the internet, which is insane. The laws we have to deal with. I mean, we're blessed in the United States. We have nothing compared to everywhere else, so I feel really lucky that way. But any regulations whatsoever, I'm appalled with any of it. I don't want to get started on being on a soapbox, because that would ruin my video. But we broke away from England because of a 2% tax, I think it was, on tea, among other things, but that was like a big part. And we weren't getting represented, and we had taxed 2% for tea. And like, what are we taxed now? If you add all the taxes up now, it's well over 50%. So people don't understand how, like, their parents, if you're as old as I am, nobody had two parents working. The father could make enough money for the entire family, and everybody had more kids than they do now. Nowadays, there's two people working. We hardly have any kids because people can't afford them. We're not even having enough kids to replicate ourselves in the United States, so we're declining. Of course, we've got illegal immigrants coming to the rescue, so they'll fill the void for us. But people couldn't understand that. Like, how could they do that? And it's because of taxes. Nowadays, when you have two people working, if they're both making the same amount, which is usually not the case, but if they're both making the same amount, actually more than one person has to be working for the government. One person's complete paycheck, and then a little bit of and the other one's paycheck goes to taxes in all the various forms we have. We didn't have all that much back when my dad was providing for our family, and so one person could provide for the family and pay the taxes and stuff. But I didn't understand that for a while, because I thought, how in the world is it that you have to have two people working just to survive? And most people are struggling with two people working, or at best paycheck to paycheck. So, anyway, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox. But just, oh, I was talking, I don't even remember why he was doing that. Just because the regulations on tobacco products have been demonized because of cigarettes. And I've never smoked cigarettes, but I've seen videos on how they make them in YouTube. It's enough to make you sick. The junk they put in there, and a lot of it is to make you more addicted to them. There's it's just unbelievable what goes into a cigarette. I think 50% or so is to tobacco, and the rest is other garbage that shouldn't be in there. And because of their addictiveness and all the chemicals that are cancer causing, I'd like to see a study, a real study that's not biased, of somebody that is basically a chain smoking cigarette smoker, but they roll their own and it's just pure tobacco with no additives. I'd like to see the statistics on lung cancer for that. I bet we'd all be very surprised. But anyway, because of cigarettes, they've demonized every form of tobacco, and so there are states that are trying to abolish it completely, and there's some states you can't buy it from another state or whatever. I don't know. I think you have to buy it from a brick and mortar store in that state or whatever. There's a bunch of regulations that are pretty horrible for some states. Luckily, I don't live in one of them. Thank you, Lord. But anyway, on to a nicer topic. I'm not bothered by the bugs either out here. There's enough of a breeze. What the strange thing is, where I live, there's hardly any mosquitoes. And the ones that you see are the size of a tiny little gnat. I've never seen a mosquito that small. And you can barely, most of the time you can't even feel them biting you, and it itches slightly, but it doesn't raise a welt or anything. In upstate New York, they were huge, and you immediately felt them biting you, and they raised a big welt. And so, and I'm sure the size, how much enzymes or whatever they injected, I guess it's an anticoagulant that they spit into to keep the blood flowing, because it would coagulate and they'd clog up their little tube. But whatever that anticoagulant is, I'm sure a big mosquito puts out more than a small one. But we do have big horse flies. I've seen some that were slightly over an inch long. I mean, look like they could carry somebody away. They're so huge. But I haven't seen hardly anything like that. Nothing today. A lot of bees buzzing around whatever flowers or wildflowers there are out here. And they're also my bees, or my wife's bees, which is nice. They're working for us anyway. Well, this has gone on for over 16 minutes, and I'm sure people are getting tired of just hearing me rambling around. But greetings from southern Missouri, the Ozarks. You have a wonderful, blessed day. May the Lord shine upon you. And until we meet again, be blessed.